Hey guys, KallTorak here. Today, I am bringing you my Reflect God Gemling. This build was a lot of fun and by far my best Reflect build. I was able to level the entire way from 10 to 90 with only Spirit Gems. The core of this build is Painter's Servant Torn Gloves. Magma Barrier does fire damage, which isn't very helpful for triggering the Herald of Thunder and Ice interaction. At one point, I was using the Gemling Ascendancy for multiple support gems. I was trying to use Lightning Infusion inside of Magma Barrier. And this worked, but Painter's Servant's Glove just worked better. Not only does it convert a majority of Magma Barrier's damage to cold and lightning damage, but it's also just a significant damage boost. Putting on my Painter's Glove, my Magma Barrier goes from 138,000 damage to 204,000 damage. So the gloves are just making us hit considerably harder, but they also help us create both freezes and shocks. If you are enjoying the content though, please like and subscribe. We are closing in on 10,000 subscribers, and I'm excited to hit this milestone. A majority of you watching are not subscribed, so let's change that. I've also been streaming a lot lately on both YouTube and Twitch. I multi-stream, so feel free to check me out on Twitch at Kall_Torak or here on YouTube. Thanks. The moment I hit level 10, I started using Magma Barrier, Herald of Thunder, Ice and Ash, and Wind Dancer. Eventually, I added on Grim Feast and Arctic Armor. To pull this off, you will need the Enfolding Dawn Pilgrim Vestments. I used this all the way until endgame. It's just a boatload of spirit. There are only a few moments in the campaign I was forced to use Melee Strike. Like on the Reddit moderator boss, he literally won't engage you until he takes damage. Otherwise, it's a very fun and powerful leveling Reflect build that transitions well into the late game. The clips I'm showing you right now are from the campaign. Very early on, I was able to just clear entire screens of enemies with ease. The biggest barrier to entry for this build is Spirit Gems. We are not able to downrank Spirit Gems in PoE 2. Low-level Spirit Gems are insanely expensive right now. In order to level up this build, you will either be forced to spend hundreds of Exalts on Spirit Gems, or you can do what I did. Level a bunch of characters level 10 and kill King of the Mist. King of the Mist will always give you a Spirit Gem from the quest. So I was able to do that to get all of my starter Spirit Gems. You really only need to level up Magma Barrier during the campaign. It's fine if you keep all of the other gems at low level until you reach endgame. Endgame, this build is doing very well. I'm far from optimized. I've only spent a few hundred Exalts on this build. A majority of the items I'm wearing were less than 30 Exalts per piece. With a rank 3 Prism for Magma Barrier, you could be one-shotting most bosses. And obviously, the clear is very good, as is with all Herald builds. Okay, I'm going to try and fly through this build in less than 10 minutes. Let's see if I can do that. So the core of this build is Painter's Gloves. As you can see here, Magma Barrier is doing 200,000 damage. When I take them off, I'm doing 130,000. It's not just a 70,000 DPS increase, but it's also converting all of the fire damage into cold and lightning damage. This is essentially making it function similar to how like Ice Strike does in the standard Herald Ice builds, where you're just causing the big explosions. So Magma Barrier has become the engine of the build. You just do your block and then booms. The booms happen. Before I dive into the Spirit Gems, though, I want to quickly talk about where my head's at with this build. It still needs some optimizing. For the most part, I have been playing this on a budget. I am using my Ingenuity belt, but every other piece is 30 Exalts or less. And because I'm on a budget right now, I am limited in how I can build as a stat stacker. Right now, I am doing Intellect because of a few reasons. One, because of Finesse. But if I was building another way, I wouldn't need to do that. 2, I've got Pure Power for stacking Intellect. But 3, I'm using Adaptive Capability. This lets me use all of my Spirit Gems with only one stat. If you were doing a traditional stat stacker using all of this stuff down here, you would not need Adaptive Capability. I am just forced to do that because I'm on a budget right now. I will be doing an optimization video where I clean all this up, and I assume I am going to be dropping Adaptive Capability for Gem Studded. We can't give up at Planted Gems. Magma Barrier is so much damage for bossing, and I think without this, I lose like 100,000 damage on Magma Barrier. And I can obviously get this higher with a better Prism, but we're not dropping in Planted Gems, but we think we will eventually want Gem Studded. Right now, because of just my limit in support gems, some of my gem combos are pretty wacky here, but I feel like I'm not a math guy. I say this in all of my builds. I gotta get better with like using path of building and like understanding how to figure that stuff out as a build creator. But I'm just gonna go ahead and guess that gem studded will be the play. There are like a few examples here I can give you, like concentrated effect. If I could use this both in Herald of Thunder and in Magma Barrier, it might be nice to use Primal Armament in both of these. We could have 2 Magma Barriers, 2 Innervates. It's possible that using Glaciation and Conduction in multiple support gems will be helpful. Right now, because I'm out of support gems, level 3 support gems to like make new gems. My filters blocked them out. I need to re-add them. Right now, Wind Dancer, I've just got some bogus support gems in it. But once I have like potentially being able to use 2 of the same copy of a support gem in different skills, this whole area might be optimized completely differently. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So in Magma Barrier, like I said, doing 213,000 damage. We have Concentrated Effect, Fire Mastery, Close Combat, Execute, and Exploit Weakness. I am breaking armor quite a bit on bosses because of Resonating Shield. That's just the main way I am currently using Magma Barrier, so it's okay. But like I said, once we get the 2 support gems, I'm probably swapping like Exploit Weakness out for like Primal Armament, and maybe even Execute out for Magma Barrier, just so it's like a little bit extra range. Herald of Thunder, we got Primal Armament, Glaciation, Cold Infusion, and Longshot. Conduction, Herald of Ice, we have Conduction, Magnified Effect, Lightning Fusion, and Innervate. These are pretty standard for the Herald interactions here. Wind Dancer, you do not need as a 5-link. This is just the 5-link I had from my Wind Dancer Poison build I was doing, or my Wind Dancer Reflect build I was doing. In it right now, I just threw in a bunch of garbage. I could not figure out what to put in it. I'm also just out of Spirit Gems. Like, I have no more rank 3 Spirit Gems because my filter's been hiding them. So, like, that's just a problem. Don't judge my tabs. Where's the gems? Like, I have just no rank 3 Spirit Gems, so that probably can be cleaned up even on the budget build. Herald of Ash, we do need precision. I am at hit cap now for Magma Barrier, and I'll show you how we got that, but precision does help for that. And then Grim Feast, Infernal Cry, Shield Charge, I don't have really anything in right now. But yeah, I'm using all 190 in my Spirit, and yeah, it's going pretty good. For the gear, the most important stuff is obviously you want to get the Painter's Gloves. They're the core of the build. Ingenuity Belt, obviously every build should be using Ingenuity Belt. All belts in this game are like, they're okay. They have like some stats like life and resistances and stuff, but if you have an Ingenuity Belt, why would you not just buff your rings? But if you don't have this, you'll be fine without it. Trust. Under weapon, you'll want elemental damage with attacks, as well as +5 melee skills. It's huge for Magma Barrier. It's the most, like, this is required. Just get a low strength roll weapon, get an energy shield based shield with a bunch of resistances and strength. For my neck, right now I'm just using rapid recharge. It was very cheap and anoint, and a lot of the defensive problems I was having was with this energy shield recharge rate and how fast it took to start. So you'll see later, I'm also stacking these stats in my jewels, but mainly want spirit and melee gems on melee skill levels on your neck. Then of course more energy shield and resistances and stuff. Obviously all this gear I'm showing you is not great gear. Like, these are not best roll gear. All of this gear is on a super budget. On your rings, you'll want cold damage to attacks, lightning damage to attacks, a bonus lightning damage, bonus cold damage, strength, dex, all your reses. On boots, stun threshold. Stun threshold does help a lot. Most of your deaths are going to come when you're stunned, so I put a lot into making sure I was stun threshold cap. But yeah, the gear, like, this is all very budget gear except for the Ingenuity Belt, but I'm going to use my Ingenuity Belt. Taking a look at the passives, the most important ones, I don't know if this is needed anymore. This could probably be dropped at this point. I'd have to test without it, but I was using this early on to just help get more shocks and freeze buildup. Forces of Nature is very nice, though. Your attack damage penetrates elemental resistances. In most of my jewels, I'm running increased energy shield recharge rate, faster start to energy shield recharge, and then 9% of maximum energy shield at stun threshold. Again, most of my deaths when I first started hitting end game was just getting stunned and dying. So I put a lot of effort into increasing my stun threshold via jewels right now. More elemental damage stuff. This is attack damage. This is just heralds, increasing your damage while you use Herald, Thunder, Ice, and Ash. It's a pretty good boost. Over here, these nodes are super important, especially since I'm int-stacking right now. Gain accuracy equal to your intelligence, and since I have so much intelligence, and just these 3 points, like without these points I was not accuracy capped, but with these points I am, so that helped a lot. More freeze buildup and more cold damage, more shock and more lightning damage. You got more freeze buildup here. A lot of these nodes are pretty standard for the Herald builds. We've got lightning damage per 10 int, more shock magnitude for more damage to like bosses and stuff, and then it was just energy shield. It's not overly complicated, and like I said, I'm doing this on a budget. Like, this is one of the cheapest anoints right now. This could be pushed a lot further. Let me know your feedback. Right now, I'd only have the Prism of Belief for +1 for Magma Barrier. This was like 120 exalts when I bought it this morning. Anything +2 was like 4 to 6 divs. I can't afford that right now, and the only +3 I saw was 100 divines. So yeah, that would be a massive damage increase if I had a +3. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the passive tree and how I should optimize this from here. It's pretty fun, but there's obviously quite a bit to clean up here. Expect some form of an update for this video in the next few days, or maybe a week. I'm going to be farming a bunch of currency and trying to push this build as far as I can. I'll be streaming this adventure over on Twitch as well as on YouTube, so come hang out. Apologies to Darth microtransaction, we once again ran out of time. Take care, boys. See ya in the next one.